that they will know that help is on the way. Those who are behind the prison walls right now, we just want you to know that we have not forgot. Hey, my sister, how are you? Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Okay. All right. All right. So we're here today to
van a declararse culpables.
This is Brother Ralphie who's talking right now here at the press conference.
Y eso es parte del problema. Muchos de ellos no saben sus derechos, pero tampoco quieren estar aquí. Y sí sabemos que ellos no pueden escuchar y mirar. Y queremos que ellos sepan que estamos aquí.
¿Hay estadísticas como tal de lo, no sé, de la injusticia que me dicen que están viviendo?
Do you have any statistics for those right now?
This is in Fresno, about 36. And from 36, they only have 1.3% that went back to prison, which is about 1.5%.
We're here again down here downtown Fresno. There's supporters coming, crossing the streets over here to the press conference here. This is to dismantle the three-strike law that is here in California. We have many people who are incarcerated for offenses that's costing us millions and millions of dollars here in California. So we just ask right now that you will come down here and support. If you can't come, hit someone on Facebook. We have the Brown Berets leader, Brother Ralphie, here that is speaking with Sister Victoria here in regards to the press conference here. We're in downtown Fresno. Downtown Fresno. We have Channel 21 right here now speaking. Their radio station is pretty always supporting the social justice aspect of what happens here in Fresno. We have the leader of the Brown Berets, Brother Ralphie, who is here with us today. This over here is the Fresno Police Department that is across the street. That over there is the women's jail. This here is the men's jail here. It's like 6-7 stories high. You see the folks who are here right now that's coming to support this event here today. Again, for those of you who are coming in, We the People org is starting a campaign to end the three strikes law. We have supporters coming up to see with their own signs right now. It says invest in people, not prisons. And so we're here once again. People are still coming. Petitions are being signed. I believe the petitions are we'll talk to the organizer and find out when they're going to start taking signatures. They got to have a certain amount of signatures across the country to get it on the ballot for November 18th. So this is a grassroots movement, and so we're just excited here to be here today. And so we're here. That's one of the organizers there, Victoria. Very passionate. You see another sign right there that our brother has right there. It says invest in the people, job opportunities, rehabilitation, concrete walls and steel bars, worsen scars. So we just appreciate this brother here. Let's have a conversation with this brother right here now. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you, Reverend Harris?
All right, good to see you. We just here. Man, these signs is pretty deep. invest in people, job opportunity, rehabilitation, concrete walls and steel bars, worse than scars. Tell us a little bit about your signs you made this morning.
Well, I think anybody who's looking into this issue of criminal justice knows that, you know, to incarcerate somebody is costs way more to incarcerate somebody. I think almost, I want to say double, but you got to quote me on that. But we know that there's definitely more money invested in punishing people instead of educating and giving them job opportunities and you know, rehabilitation and whatever supports that they need. I mean, it's a democracy. It's about people. I mean, democracy, part of the word democratic means of or relating to people. So we gotta, it's like a no-brainer to me. Instead of locking people up like animals, we have to give them opportunity just like we had, you know, to succeed and to have a meaningful life.
You know, I thought I read something on Facebook that they said that they're going to be building a new county jail here. I think it's at $89 million. I can't remember, but the amount of money that they're going to spend to build this jail here, and then here in Fresno County, the rehabilitation program in the county, they cut that budget and gave that money to the sheriff department. What do you think about that?
I think it's obvious that it shows that the people who have these positions of power, whether it's, you know, city council or in the state level, they would rather lock people up than rehabilitate them. I mean, it's very inhumane. It's I think especially legislators who are supporting this need to be removed from office. I mean, you know, we need to use the democratic process, kick them out, and replace them with people who are going to overturn this or obstruct this from actually happening. Because it's a travesty. Are you kidding me? We're going to $80-something million, $80-something million to build another jail.
Right.
I mean, oh my man. I mean, imagine what you could do giving that to. Funding those channels, you know, through the through other, community organizations, the EOC, different, various non-governmental organizations. Let me tell you, invest $89 million in Fresno County supporting people, and I guarantee you, you're going to get less crime rates, and you're not going to have a need for another jail. You might even have to get rid of these.
Right.
That's what I would argue.
Right. That's real talk here. You know, I'm looking at the people who are going inside the jail here. I'm looking at these police officers walking out with machine guns and SWAT gear on. I'm pretty sure that they've been alert that we're going to be out here. There's nothing negative that we're doing out here, but practicing our constitutional right here in the city, which even that sometimes you become criminalized for even, protesting for what's right. And so the good thing I can say about Fresno is that we have organizers here that's not scared. We know the law. We know the do's and don'ts about how to protest in front of public buildings. But I just think right now, California built 20-something prisons to one college. That's the statistics in California. They built 20-something prisons to one college. And that last college that they built was UC Merced. But yet we built all these prisons. So California politics in Sacramento is we rather incarcerate instead of educate. What do you think about that?
That's just, what's happening in Fresno is a kind of a microcosm of what's going on in California as well as the nation. As far as business interests are concerned, hey man, you lock people up, that's profits. Wow. That's people you can collect money from different levels of government for. It creates jobs, creates food demand, clothing demand, it's great for the economy if you want to think of the economy as GDP and just some raw core statistic. But then again, it just reflects a devaluation and a disenfranchisement of a growing population of this city, state, and nation.
Right. What is your just to switch the conversation to another note? We have a sheriff van right there that's look like it's leaving right now. What is your thoughts about this Keith Foster scandal of Chief Dyer and Keith Foster was brought up on charges by the FBI on selling dope in the community, and he was second in charge. What is your thoughts about community policing, how the police come out with hot dogs and bounce houses, and then right up under our nose, we have the second man in charge, who was a black man who is from West Fresno, that I know his family dearly. Do you think that he was set up? Do you really feel that Dyer didn't know that Mr. Foster was doing this? I find it hard to believe that he didn't know, because he's with this man almost more than he's with his wife. His office sits right across from his office. They go to meetings, they go to conferences together. How could a chief of police who's supposed to be so creditable and a Christian on top of that, and I'm not questioning his Christianity, but I am questioning his leadership. If the tables were turned that Keith Foster was the chief of police and Jerry Dyer was his assistant, do you think that Mr. Foster could stay the chief of police here in Fresno?
Oh wow, absolutely not. I mean, this is. I'm still kind of in shock of this whole ordeal, and to think that I believe the one who's Mr. Foster. I think he was set to be the next chief of police, right? He was. So that's wow. I mean, it just seems very shady. It seems very shady. I mean, I haven't looked too deeply into this issue, but I think in addressing the issue of community policing, I think we can follow what other cities have done. Philadelphia, I believe, for example, especially after the assault on the John Africa group, where they just firebombed a community. One of the changes they made to improve community relations was to require police officers to live in the communities that they police. To require an embedding of not just so police can live in Northeast Fresno or Northwest Fresno and come patrol the west side, east side, or people who they probably don't identify with. I think that could be at least one step in addressing the cultural gap between the police and the community. I mean, because the police obviously think that they're a lot of people, I won't say everybody in general, but there's a sense of we're above the law. There's a sense of we can do whatever we want. And of course that's just the legacy, a tradition of U.S. politics in general. I mean, you trace it back. I mean, we know the first organized police forces in this nation were slave patrols. You got to control the people, control the oppressed people in various ways, and of course that's evolved now to mass incarceration. With the war on this whole war on drugs that was started with Nixon, and it's just an attack on working people and communities of color. Just in the same vein that Jim Crow was in the past, and it's kind of like this culture of white supremacy, this culture of empire, and this culture of some people just aren't valued.
Yeah, it's just sad when I look at the amount of tax dollars that's spent by our police department, and it's just such a. And then the statement that Dyer said was, can we just put this behind us? I just feel that there's a double standard when it comes to law enforcement
Absolutely.
Behavior, and then when it comes to civilian behavior, it's law enforcement, they get a free pass, but yet at the same time, when civilians do something wrong, you go into jail, you go into prison. I just don't understand in this day and this day and time, why is there such a double standard in this country when it comes to law enforcement?
I mean, worse. Yeah, you see what happened with Joe Arpaio. I mean, I think that's a classic example, right? We have a known racist, a known bigot, a known, somebody who's consciously and judiciously going against the Constitution, and our president pardons him. So we have a sheriff who's guilty. Has been found guilty at the highest court, and then our president just pardons him, right? And that's what's kind of going on, across the country in different ways. Is we're pardoning these perpetrators of violence, and these murderers of innocent people, and that's what's going on.
Wow.
So I think we're gonna get ready for this this whole media thing, right? 12:15.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir, for your interview with us. This is
Thank you.
Dr. Harris. We're here on the ground in front of the county jail here. It's about 5 stories high. Where this fly just keep following me. I don't know why it keeps following me here. But you see the protesters here on the ground. We're with Real Talk with the #1 doctors. Real Talk with the #1 doctors here in Fresno. We're on the ground here. We're live. This fly will not leave me alone. I don't know what's wrong with this fly. But anyway, maybe he likes the way I look or something. So anyway, we're here again, and so we have Sister Anita over there who came all the way down from Oakland, California. She spoke at my church. This fly will just not leave me alone for some reason. From Oakland, California. We have the brown barrettes over there on the other side over there. And so we're just happy to be here. I'm going to go over and talk to Sister Anita here and see how she's doing. Sister Anita, thank you for coming to Fresno. It's been a long time since we have seen each other. This sister here has been a sister who has been on the front lines. She has a loved one that's incarcerated, and she will not stop. She will not give up. She travels the country. She travels up and down California. She has came to my church and spoke, and we got to get her back in 2018 to bring the house down again. And this sister here is just magnificent. And I spotted you a block. Hey, soldier, how you doing? Bless your heart. Can you kind of talk to us about, first tell our folks across the world, we have people we're live streaming here on the ground in front of Fresno County Jail. Yeah. And I was told this morning, I asked about you. They said, well, no, a brother from San Francisco going to pick her up. I said, well, y'all make sure y'all give her good hospitality, because I'm going to ask her when she get here. And so look like you're happy. You had a good trip. And we just thank you for coming to Mississippi, Fresno again. I renamed my city to Mississippi, not Fresno, but Mississippi, Fresno. And kind of talk about who you are and what you're doing now and why you're in Fresno.
Yeah, I'm an activist on behalf of those who are incarcerated. I'm activating against mass incarceration, against money bail, for ending money bail. The money bail system, which is a system that comes from slavery days, when they had bounty hunters who would get paid to run after slaves and to bring them back to their masters. We have an antiquated system here, a system of punishment and profit. So you get a profit from going after someone who has jumped bail. And it's usually a black or a brown or a poor person, because the wealthy, we know that once the wealthy are charged, they go home. As long as you have a house to put up or something, you can go home and you don't lose your house. But in a money bail system, what you do is you put up money. If you have money, and if somebody has a house and you give that to the bail bondsman, they put a lien on your house, and that money does not come back to you. You have to continue to pay that bail bondsman. So you are actually physically in debt for something that you have not been convicted of. And if you cannot pay the bail, you stay in jail until you have a trial, which they guarantee you a speedy trial. And I can tell you that in my son's case, he spent 2 years in jail. He did not have a speedy trial. He spent 2 years in county jail, which was a presumption of guilt, not of innocence. And so that's the money bill. And I'm also an activist against the police killing of our young people. I've had my 19-year-old grandson was murdered in the streets, and I can't even tell you that I don't think the police did it, because I do think the police has something to do with it, and I also think they have something to do with it being covered up. because they bring back cold cases and they never bring back my grandson's case. And my son was sentenced to 66 years to life for a crime he did not commit. The evidence of his innocence was not allowed to be brought into the trial because Alameda County Courthouse, which is a superior court, was determined that they were going to give one conviction and they were going to convict my son. So they told my son that if he took a plea, he could get out in 40 years. They wanted him to take a plea for 40 years, and he said, I'm not taking a plea for something I did not do. You know, a plea is another thing that they use against black and brown people. So they wanted him to plea, and he refused. And what happened was the district attorney told him, if you know, since you don't want to take a plea, we're coming after you, and we're going to get you. So they used whatever means necessary to prosecute my son of a crime that he did not commit. So this is why I'm an activist, because we have a lot going on here in California, which is supposedly one of the most liberal states in the country. But we have a system that where most of the money that the taxpayer pays goes to the CDCR or to the county sheriffs. They are the ones that are profiting and making money off of us, off of our young people, and off of us. So we have a predatory system which is kept in place by the police, by law enforcement, predominantly white males. It's a system that in this United States we have 11,000 law enforcement agencies just in the United States. What in the world does a democracy need 11,000 law enforcement agencies for? You know, so this is why I do what I do. I'm also a member of SE Justice Group, and that's the group that supports families who have someone who is incarcerated. So that's a support group for me. I live in the Bay Area, and I'm very active up in the Bay Area, and I also am very active all across the country. So this is who I am. This is my life. I'm trying to get my son a new hearing. The First District Court of Appeals has said that my son was illegally sentenced. So they sent a message, they sent a letter to the judge, and the judge, the same one who sentenced him, is refusing to allow him a resentencing hearing. The DA is refusing to allow my son a resentencing hearing. So this is why I'm out here and I'm talking on behalf of my son, and we have a rally.org page for Kerry Baxter Sr. to get money for his, to get an attorney for him because they won't help us with an attorney. And we also have a petition demanding that the California State Attorney General intervene and tell that judge and the DA and also the appeals court to grant my son a resentencing hearing. Because when they have it, we will have a right to bring evidence of his innocence. So, thank you so much, Reverend Harris.
So what can the community do? I know it took a lot for you to get the appeals to send it to the judge, but what can the community do to help you or assist you, or at this point where he's now refusing? Is there anything that can be done?
Yeah, we can. That's why we have the petition, and we're online. It's actually an online petition, but we also have paper petitions. But what we want is for the community to come out and support Kerry Baxter Sr. And help him support him so that this conviction can be overturned. and demand that we be allowed to bring the evidence showing that my son is not guilty of what he was accused of. That's what I need. I need community support in order for us to get this done.
Now, the people who are supporting, do they have to live in Oakland, or can they live in California? Can they live anywhere in the United States? How does that work?
We have a petition that's online for change.org for Carrie Baxter Sr. Anybody can sign that petition. With also the rally.org, which is our donation site, anybody can donate. And Carrie we have a we demand freedom for Carrie Baxter Sr. We have a Facebook page that you can go to and get more information. So anybody can participate, because the whole system is corrupt. It's not just one little area. It's California. They use the 13th Amendment to keep us enslaved, to keep our young people enslaved, and until all of us are free, none of us are free.
Dr. King said, "Injustice to one is injustice to all."
Yes.
And that is still so relevant today when I listen
Yes.
to his speeches. Injustice to one. When I always think about Oakland, Sister Nita, I always think about you, and because Oakland was the historical piece of the Black Panther Party that was assassinated by the Oakland PD. And Reagan was in office during that time, and Reagan was the one who passed legislation to ban people in California to carry guns. At the same time, the folks who was killing was the government, but he banned the citizens from carrying guns.
Right.
I mean, that was just so backwards.
Yeah, because they saw the Black Panthers exercise their right, their Second Amendment right, and that was scared the powers that be. It's okay for white males to use their Second Amendment right. They can live and die by it, but not for the average black person to use the Second Amendment right. And I just have a theory that that's because they took this country using guns. They took the country from Native Americans using guns, and they enslaved Africans using guns. So that's their favorite amendment.
Right.
And it's really sad that these people who are in power have to walk around scared and have a gun. They don't feel safe unless they have a gun. And then they feel unsafe if anybody else has a gun. But that's kind of an unfair fight. You're the only one that wants to have a gun, but you want to be up against somebody that is unarmed, and that's not a fair fight.
Right. Right.
So
Well, thank you so much, Sister Nita. We're going to get you to come back to Fresno in 2008, hopefully during Black History Month, if if you can fit it in your schedule, and we would love to have you. And I'll make sure we have some food after service. Because you know about my Freedom School, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're teaching the babies how to farm here in Fresno. And we just want to thank my sister. Sister with a lot of knowledge. And listen, knowledge is power, y'all. Knowledge is power. And that's what we're trying to push right now. Yes, we can march. Yes, we can protest. But what's all that without knowledge? And the Bible says my people are destroyed without knowledge. And so we want to make sure that we have some knowledge here. So Sister Vic, there you go. Here you go. Listen, why are we here today? Why put the phone up to you? Why have you called all the people in Fresno, especially me, out here in front of the jail? Now, you know the jail don't like me, the sheriff department don't like me, the Fresno PD don't like me, but I had to put everything down and to come out here and support you. And I just want to thank you, first of all, for your compassion. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for not giving up. And so tell us, this organization, We the People org, who is that? What is your role? And we have people listening from all over the country right now, from Colorado to New York to California to Texas right now. Tell us what's going on here in Mississippi, Fresno.
What we're doing is we're actually standing up against mass incarceration, as we know is industrialized slavery. We are standing up against it, saying enough is enough. All our brothers and sisters that have went to prison and that they're using as a profit, we're saying that we need them out here. Using them as a profit, they're actually traumatizing families, children, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. So we're just out here to say that we're standing up against it, and that we are to. This is there to be doing as the people want to do, and it's only obvious that this is not what the people want, is the incarceration. And I thought this would be the best place to have it, Fresno, and to have you involved, because we do have, right now we've had the issue with the homeless people, that they have now criminalized them as well. And we know that this is just set up by design, because eventually they're going to say, well, the jails are overpopulated, we need more jails, we need more prisons. The sad thing about it is right now they take third graders test scores, reading test scores, to evaluate how many more prisons that they're going to need in California. So they're already setting up our people for failure. And so we're here to stand up against that, and the first thing we'll be doing is changing the policies.
So can you kind of give us some history about the 3-strike law? I was reading a press release today, and it talked about the 3-strike law that, I forget the name of the brother, I want to say something Reynolds, but don't mark me on the name. But what is this 3-strike law? Why is it a bad law if now it needs to be overturned?
Okay, the reason why it is a bad law, first, it was a law that was put in effect, it was determined by emotion. Emotion ruled that one, and that's why it was such a push on it. It also backfired, because the simple fact, it was just supposed to be for repetitive violent offenders. However, it ended up being all offenders, whether you're nonviolent or not. So we ended up having people going to jail for a prison to life just because they stole a pair of shoes or they stole some food. And we all know that those crimes are just, there's drivers of crime. It's not just because they want to do it. It's either there's poverty or there's mental illness involved, there's trauma, etc. And so we're here to change that. We did have Prop 36 that came along and helped change that for nonviolent offenders to reduce them to second strikers. However, the penal code got changed to where they added things to the violent list of people who are considered violent, where there hasn't even been any violence involved. I mean, they're serious crimes, but they shouldn't be violent, and these people shouldn't have to be locked up for life for them, especially when they're sitting there and they're rehabilitated and they're spending over $75,000 a year just to house one inmate. And we have over 130,000 people in prison just in California. So if you do the math, you know that's millions into the billions.
So California motto, if I may say respectfully, is to incarcerate and not educate. For the simple fact that, let me let this bus leave. The simple fact that to incarcerate, not educate, because what happens is that California built 20 prisons to one college.
Right.
So that alone tells you right there the investment that California politicians in Sacramento, because Sacramento is the one that has to vote on building prisons and the funding and all of that. And so 20 something prisons to one college. Now the last college that was built was in Merced, I believe maybe 8-9 years ago. And so when we look at how the money is being funneled, how the money is being transitioned, it's not to building schools, it's not to building parks, it's not to building after school programs, but it's to fund the Fresno Police Department with more guns, more training centers, more ammunition, newer cars, more technology. But when it comes to the citizens and our little babies, listen, I just asked an individual over earlier, I said, well, listen, you know, what do you think about the scandal with Keith Foster and the Fresno Police Department? Because the problem I have is the chief said he didn't know he was selling drugs, but yet the chief is with his assistant Foster more than he's with his own wife at home. They go to conferences, they go to banquets, they have press conferences. So I can see how now in my community, West Fresno, how a lot of my children were set up by the Fresno Police Department because they were actually selling dope in the community when they said that they were fighting crime. I mean, so you can't have them both ways. Either you're fighting crime or you're not fighting crime. But when I see you come in my community with bounce houses and hot dogs, arresting my people, then they go through the court system, then you put them in the county jail, then they go to prison. How can that happen? This is like a movie to me. This is like a dream. You know, this just don't happen in America. You don't have a police department selling drugs in the community and then turn around, there's no accountability here in this city. I asked the person earlier, I said, if Keith Foster was a black man and he was the chief of police, do you think he'll still have his job as a black man and Chief Dyer was the one selling the drugs? No, he wouldn't have his job. So I just think that your organization here, WeThePeople.org, is really timely right now with Trump being in office, all the stuff. One sister said it happens more than you know it. Sister Maria said, hi, Victoria.
Hello.
So you have a lot of people here following you today. And, you know, and we just want to come out and support you. And, you know, we have the Brown Berets here. We have Ralphie here, who is the leader of the Brown Berets. And, you know, people are coming up signing petitions. And that's what we want. It's about education. Knowledge is power. And we want our people. Like I told the sister over there, Sister Nita, I said, we can march, we can protest. But if we don't have no knowledge with it, that's all it is marching and protesting. And so the system wants us to become ignorant. The system wants us to just, you know, just whine and moan and cry. But you're taking it to another level. You're taking it to the streets. You're taking it to the people. And you're going to let the people decide that this law in California needs to be changed. What do you think about that?
That's what we want. Is powerful. And the thing about it, the things you talked about here in Fresno, it's not just Fresno, it's all of California, it's all of the nation. So, but it's up to us people. If we want a movement, we got to be the movement. So we have to get out here and we have to do the footwork and we have to change policies. And it's only been evident from the last prison reforms that we did have on the ballot. We've gotten over 60% of Californians who have wanted it, and it's passed. So it's out there. We know the people want it. So it's just a matter of us uniting and standing up and saying enough is enough.
Wow. Thank you, Sister Victoria. You know that you have my support. You have my church support. You have my any resources we have to help you. I'm going to get my members more involved in this, because this movement that you created affects a lot of people in my membership, in my church. Every Sunday when they come through the doors, this three strike law affects them. So they need to get involved. They need to sign a petition. We need to be canvassing Fresno and the San Joaquin Valley. We need to do our part here in the Valley. If we care about our loved ones, if we care about redirecting the money source to come back to the people, then this is what we have to do. So I just want to thank you for what you're doing out here today.
Okay. I also want to put a piece out there too, food for thought. Central Valley is also known as Prison Alley. We have more prisons in the Central Valley than we do any other part of the California.
Wow. Prison Alley.
Yes.
Okay. Can I use that in my sermon?
Yes, you can.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We just want to thank everyone here again for here today. We're here on the ground right now here in Fresno. We're here right here at the Fresno County Jail. We're here. This is where all our people are housed. I call it a dog house at their house. Those who know me know that I'm an international civil rights leader. Again, I'm on ground zero here. You see the sign, County of Fresno, Main Detention Facility, 1225 M Street. You're here. We're on Blog Talk Radio. We're going live worldwide. Live streaming right here. Just to let everybody know, WeThePeople.org is starting a movement here in California to ban the 3 strikes law. Money and resources are being distributed to prisons and not education. Money is being distributed to law enforcement to buy more guns and to buy more ammunition, helicopters, and all that type of stuff. And so I'm gonna try to get over here to Brother Ralphie, who's the leader of one of the leaders of the Brown Berets here. He's talking to Sister Victoria, and so we're gonna see what I can get a conversation with him. But again, we're on ground zero here. We're live with Real Talk with the #1 doctors. We're pipelining all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, where Dr. Kennedy is. We're getting petitions signed. They have free T-shirts. Signs are being made out here today. This is a grassroots movement. It's time for people in Fresno to get off the recliner, quit watching Empire and all this other stuff that really makes no impact in our lives, and start doing something that can help our people right now. We need to really educate ourselves about what's going on here in Fresno, California, as well as across the nation. We have an election that's going to be coming up in 2018. It's going to be a very important election, not just here in Fresno, but across the country right now. We're doing our part. My organization, National Network in Action, Brown Berets, we're connecting. One of the things that I'm going to do even more so now is really connect with the Bay Area. I have connections in the Bay Area, but it seems like what happens in the Valley is that people fly over the San Joaquin Valley into LA, San Diego, fly from San Diego, LA, and then fly over to San Joaquin Valley. And as Sister Victoria said, we're Prison Alley. We have more prisons here in the San Joaquin Valley than any part of California. So there's a money flow, money resource that's going there to empower the police department. You see the Fresno PD over there. That's where Chief Dyer headquarters is over there. He takes up probably over half of the block over there. I'm pretty sure he has a nice, healthy budget over there for his so-called patrolling our community. And so this is a good turnout today. This is a good start. Good information that's out here right now. We're just happy to be on the ground. I'm happy to be on the ground. Also, I want to thank all of you right now who are watching live stream. Please share this video live stream with people. I also want to thank Sister Marie Ellis for running the board for me with the Real Talk with the #1 doctors. She's a lifesaver. Just love her energy, love her knowledge of what she do. I just want to thank Gloria Williams for tuning in right now. My sister Maisha, Kelsey, thank you for tuning in. Maria Ellis, thank you for tuning in. My cousin Sean from Colorado, thank you for tuning in. Maisha, thank you for tuning in. Gloria Williams, Michael, Joseph, thank you. Pastor, thank you for Hubs, thank you for tuning in. Tanisha, thank you for tuning in. June, I see you. Thank you for tuning in today to this. Cal Oliver, thank you for tuning in today. I'm going to try to get over to my main man, Ralphie. I can't never catch him. What's up, man?
Good. I'm going to be heading out, but okay. I wanted to fill you in on something. Okay. So I decided I'm going to be stepping back from my leadership role with the Brown Berets. And I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm going to be still here in town. I'm still going to be involved with things in the background. But it's time for me to step aside. Not that I'm leaving because I'm not. I'm maintaining my weight, but it's time for the younger generation to step up. Because if we don't do that, we'll never grow as a community. But I want to do I'll be doing other things. So I'll be staying involved at other levels, kind of like you, But it's important for the Brown Berets if we're going to grow. New leadership is going to flourish. I've got to be able to step aside. So I made that decision to take some time off. Maybe a year, maybe more, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here. I want to tell you because I haven't had a chance to talk to you.
Okay. Well, I understand. We got to push this next generation up, you know.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that.
Well, you know, I've been watching what you've been doing on Facebook with your school, man, and I'm proud of you because that's exactly the seeds we want to grow, right?
Right.
So you got a good model going, so.
Will you still be doing like the training, the workshop?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the other reasons I need to step back is it's going to be 9 years since I graduated from law school, and I need to take the bar. I need to get the bar and have it. And there's been a few times where I've been like, man, I wish I had my license. I got my law degree, but I don't have my license, right? I wish I had my license, but we need lawyers too. And that's the other thing. We only got so many lawyers.
So is there someone going to take the helm, or?
Well, there's a couple of people there now, Jose, Rashid. They've been there for a while. And they're not kids anymore, you know, they're in their 30s now. They got teenage, you know, in Jose's case, teenage daughters. So they're grown men now who have been there. And so Jose's a good contact for me to use somebody. And they know that too. They know that you're there. So, but yeah, no, I just wanted to know I'm not going anywhere, but I am taking a step back.
Okay, well, we'll you know, we still connected, you know. I'm just trying to build a school, you know, once I build it, you know, I'm trying to do the same as, you know, step back, push the leadership up, you know, but, you know, it's a process. It's a long process, you know.
Especially when you're dealing with the school. I'm sure your own bureaucracies amongst everything else. Oh, yeah.
That's good. Okay, so you decide, so you officially now, end of the year, or what?
I'm phasing myself out slowly.
Okay, slowly. Okay, I understand. Okay.
But they should be stepping up. Like today, I knew some of them couldn't be here, so I said, okay, I'll be here. She showed up for a while, but he had a
Okay,
I'm gonna head out.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
And keep it.
Okay, this is Reverend Harris again. We're out here at the bus shelter right here next to the county jail here. Sister, can I see your sign there, sister? What? Okay, all right. Gerald Stanfield, not guilty verdict. Lands 5-7.
Landslide mistrial.
Wow.
Found not guilty assaulting a police officer. April 5th, he was supposed to be released, and they still haven't released it. The DA's talking about doing a retrial.
Now, this is your son, Gerald Stanfield. Now, if I'm correct,
yes,
you're the mother that contacted me.
Yes.
And I brought my church over to Strata Street.
Right.
And the community came out, the Brown Berets, and we shut it down.
Yes.
We let our brothers talk, and all the media was there, and you spoke. Kind of tell us what happened with that case.
Well, the case was 9 weeks.
Let's come over here.
The case was 9 weeks long, and it was 9 weeks. 9 weeks. It was a 7-5 mistrial for him not guilty. Okay, they put 119 police officers on the stand against my son. 74 in uniform and 21 plainclothes. 21 plainclothes officers. And even the officers, some of the officers that got on the stand said that they did not know where a weapon came from. They believed it was their own weapon. They believed that it was their weapon. So at the end of it, he was found. It took them a week for the jury to come back, and they said they did not see guilt in him.
Okay, so if I remember this correctly, this was they followed your son
on Easter
Sunday all over Fresno. They waited until he got on Strata. They rammed his car.
Right.
Okay, and he jumped out, running away from them. Probably scared or whatever. and then shots were fired.
Right.
Shots was fired from the Fresno police service weapon, which hit your son in the head, in the back, and the leg. Is that correct?
Right. Four times in the back.
Okay, 4 times in the back, and then he hit the ground.
Right.
And then when I heard Chief Dyer get, like he always do, contaminating the investigation, he said that the reason his officers shot at your son was because the officers felt that he had a weapon and the officers feared for their life. So then that poisoned supposedly that was supposed to make your son guilty in the public's eye.
Right.
So I was following the case real strong.
Well, they actually said that he had a weapon faced towards them, as if he faced towards them with a weapon. And all the people that were out, all the witnesses that Easter Sunday said the boy did not have a weapon at all. He never turned towards the police. He kept running away from them.
Right. So that's what really caught me, because after you talked to me, I went and talked to the community, and it just didn't add up. And so that's why we took direct action. So then your son is being tried in the media, which that's what our chief does. He tries everyone in the media to contaminate the...
Well, did he try Foster in the media?
Oh, that's a whole nother topic I like to talk to you about. Okay, so let's get through this one first. Okay, so then he's shot, right? Mm-hmm. And then once he came to this once your son came to this, I'm gonna call it doghouse jail.
Yes, he was on that second floor.
He was on the second
paralyzed for 3 years.
Okay, your son was paralyzed in the county jail for 3 years.
Yes.
He would not get any medical attention.
Correct.
The county wouldn't, the doctors would not give him the correct medication. He was in pain. He was suffering inside the county jail.
Yes.
So when I say the county jail, I want everybody to understand what county jail I'm talking about. See, that says Sheriff Department, County of Fresno. So we have a bus here that has bars on it here in downtown Fresno that transport prisoners, those that's alleged prisoners, to prison, Wasco, Corcoran, and etc. Hey, what's up? All right. And so I want to talk to you too. And so this is the bus here that transport. This is your tax dollars right here that transports our loved ones to the prison system. And I'm pretty sure the brother in there, that's driving the bus has a bus license, and I guess he's trying to make a living too. But okay, so let's get back to your son here. Okay, so your son is sitting inside this jail for 3 years and not receiving medical attention from the doctors here. He goes to trial, and now help, because I haven't talked to you in a while.
Right.
I'm not a betting man, so I don't bet, but I'm going to bet right now. I bet you. Well, I'm not going to bet. I'm not going to bet. I don't want to speak that.
Right. Okay.
So let me just ask you, okay?
Okay.
So was he asked to take a plea bargain?
Yes.
That's what I was going to bet on, but I didn't want to bet. Our children are always asked to take
it was ridiculous.
a plea bargain.
Yes.
But your son didn't take a plea bargain.
No.
He didn't take a plea bargain.
No.
He took it to trial.
Took it to the box.
He took it to trial. He took it to court. And if he would have took a plea bargain, like most of our children do, because they're scared, they want to go home, and they're being told, if you take a plea bargain, listen, you're going to do 30, you're going to do 40 years. Why not do 10 and get out? Right. That's what's being told to our children all the time. But you as a mother, you stood by your son. We stood with you in Southwest. We was the only church.
Yes.
I asked my members, my deacon and all of them, hey deacon, he's right here listening to on live stream. We went out there to support you because I felt in my spirit that this was wrong. And so your son is not guilty, and the court found him not guilty. Congratulations, mother. More mothers need to stand with their children.
Thank you.
You know what? I'm going to ask you to come speak in my church again. Can I get a yes on that?
Yes, I will.
All right. I'm going to get your number because I want you to come tell the world what happened. Okay, we're going to go over here real quick. We're getting ready for the press conference here. We're here right now. Getting ready for the press conference here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here.
Just so we have it in the press.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings. My name is Victoria Johnson. I am the director of We the People Org. We the People Org is an organization, watchdog organization, which is also a nonprofit. And we are here and stepping out to make changes within our communities. We're wanting to help disadvantaged children, families, and communities, and just make a difference. There's so much being said and attacks being on our people that we're here to stand up and say enough is enough and let our people go. As many know here in Fresno, the latest is now they're criminalizing homeless people, and it's just a matter of them eventually finding anything and everything to get someone to be incarcerated. As it is right now, 1 in 4 people know someone who's incarcerated. We have over 130,000 people that are incarcerated in California, and that doesn't include those that they have shipped out to other states and put in prisons. We also have those that are undocumented now that are being imprisoned, and so we're here to stand up and fight and make a change. We need policy changes to help the people. And so with that being said, I would first like to introduce one person who, her name is Anita Hills, which has been affected with the mass incarceration and is dealing and fighting to make change with her son. Anita?
Hi, my name is Anita Wills, and I'm an activist. I live in the Bay Area. I'm a member of SC Justice Group, which is an organization that supports women who have an incarcerated loved one. And right now, there's 2 things that I activate on. One of them is the murder of my grandson in East Oakland, which happened January 16, 2011. He was 19 years old. He was set up and shot in the back and allowed to die on the streets. So I'm an activist against police killing of our young people. I'm an activist against the incarceration of our young people. I'm against incarceration of us, as a solution to society's problem. I don't believe that taking people who are citizens and putting them behind bars for any reason is conducive to a healthy society. My son is serving, he was serving a 66-year life sentence for a crime that he did not do. And when I say that, I don't just say it because I'm his mother. I have the proof, I have the evidence, and we have a chance to get back in court and show some of the evidence. But the judge has decided to ignore the Court of Appeals ruling, stating that my son was illegally sentenced, and to stating that he should have a re-sentencing hearing. So my son, who is his name's Kerry Braxton Sr., and he's down at Corcoran he's serving some of his sentence at Corcoran. But when they're in prison, you know, they can move them anywhere. He's been as far away as Susanville, which is up outside of Reno, and High Desert. He was there. He was also at in Lancaster. He's never been any closer than 100 miles to me. They do not make it easy for you to visit and keep in contact with your loved one. He was sentenced under 3 strikes, and so some of his sentence was dropped. Some of his enhancements were dropped, so that now he's serving 16 years to life. But he's still in prison, and whenever he gets out, he will be on parole, if we don't get his sentence, his wrongful conviction overturned. So I'm fighting for him and everyone else who is wrongfully and unjustly convicted to be free. You know, I believe that the laws of God put us here as free people, not as slaves to anybody. So I fight, you know, I'm fighting for his freedom. I'm fighting for justice. I'm fighting for the homeless and any other person who is headed to prison. I'm fighting for an end to the school to prison pipeline that they have. When they're taking funds out of schools and putting it into prison, that's a problem. And this society has a lot of issues and problems with just letting people live and thrive. So we have, in Oakland, in the Bay Area, we have what's called gentrification. There's an issue with people who could afford homes like 10 years ago, who could afford to rent, who can no longer afford to rent. So we have Tent City down in Oakland. And San Francisco. It's the same way with San Francisco. And so who do they use to monitor those people? They use the police to monitor them. They take them, arrest them for loitering, arrest them for being homeless, take their children away. And to me, it's like this society creates their own problem because of what they do with the resources they have. They spend more resources with CR than they spend with education, with housing, you know, and helping people to get jobs. You know, they don't seem to want to have a healthy public. So, you know, this is why I do what I do. The more that I learn, the more disgusted I get. It's no surprise to me that Donald Trump is the president of the United States. It's been going that way for quite a while. You know, we thought we couldn't survive Bush, and we survived Bush, and we survived, you know, during the last 8 years when Obama was president, they were doing more killing of us than any time before that. What I'm saying is the police were killing us. You know, it's like they were punishing us because we had a black president, because there was a black president, to let us know that we were, you know, to keep us in our place. Don't get uppity, you know. So they were going after black and brown people, killing. Most of the killings that I was participating in, you know, like marches and stuff about, happened during Obama's administration. Ferguson, there was Trayvon Martin, there was my grandson in 2011. A lot of the killings that are going on happened during the Obama administration. And I believe the system was trying to tell us, don't get too uppity, Negroes. Don't get too uppity. You know, just because there's a black president, we're still going to kill you and still get away with it. Yes, and Oscar Grant, who was in the Bay Area. And it's really sad that this is what had to happen to wake us up. Is that our people are being murdered. And now Trump has come, Trump is in office, and what is he doing? He's taking people that they decide are illegal and putting them in concentration camps. The ones that aren't being sent away are in what they call internment camps, like in Germany, where they're holding these people, not just the people, but their children. So we have internment camps all along the borders of Texas, the borders of California and Arizona, any of the borders states, almost all of them have internment camps. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's all connected. It's not disconnected from the police killing our young people. And the other thing that I want to mention is that I am a writer, an author. I've written 7 books, and one of the books I wrote is called A Nation of Flaws, Just Us in the Homeland. And it's directly about the police and how the police were set up to go after slaves. They didn't call them police, they called them bounty hunters. And they called them patty rollers. And they were paid a bounty to go after slaves, to capture them and return them to their owners. That's what the police did back then. And they morphed. The bounty hunters and the patty rollers morphed into the militia, the white militia. They were still allowed to go after black people and arrest us for little or nothing. And then they morphed into the KKK, which morphed into these law enforcement agencies. And if you go into rural towns, especially in the South, you can see, how they treat their population of black people, which is they go after you for little or nothing and will lock you in jail, make sure that you're not ever free enough to keep a job. You're never free enough to go to college, because now if you have a record, some of the colleges don't want you if you've ever been in prison or in jail. So this is the reality in the United States. And again, my name is Anita Wills. I'm an author. I'm right now advocating on behalf of my son, Kerry Sr., and my grandson, Kerry Jr., who was murdered. And also, I'm on Facebook, and we have a rally.org page to raise funds for Kerry Sr. to get him an attorney to represent him in his sentencing hearing. And also, we have a petition for Kerry Sr. under change.org on Facebook. And thank you guys for having me here. And you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Anita.
Thank you, Anita. That is just one story of several thousands, if not millions, stories that are going on and people have to share. The sad part is, as far as she was speaking on the police enforcement, how that started out and where it is now. If you look to our U.S. Constitution, it states in our Constitution under the 13th Amendment that slavery is illegal unless it's for punishment. This is what's going on with our jails and our prisons, is they now have turned it into industrialized slavery and are wanting to get more and more people incarcerated so that they can get the things done that they want to get done, get the money that they want by incarcerating our people. They're not caring about our families. They're not caring how they can be a great asset to the society. They're not caring about none of that except for the money that they get. They're spending over $75,000 a year on one inmate to house them. That is more than what it costs to go to Harvard for 1 year. Here in California, if you look it up, we are #1 in prison spending as far as the 50 states, but we're 48 when it comes to education spending. If you look at, if and you want more information, there's a lot of information out there. You just have to Google it. They don't want us to know. They don't tell you it's out there, but it's out there. There's statistics as far as those that do get rehabilitated and come out. They're trying to say that crime rate is up in California, when actually it is at extreme low. Statewide is extreme low. There are some cities where it's higher, but they're not looking at the fact of what's going on within them cities to cause it. There's poverty, there's oppression, there's trauma, and those being wrongly convicted. So in that fight, we the People Org would like to announce that we are filing, or have filed, an initiative that we are moving to the ballot for 2018, which is the People's Fair Sentencing and Safety Public Act of 2018. And what this will do is, as many know, here in Fresno is where it came about, the 3 strikes law. There was then, at that time, it just went rapid. There was wildfire. Everyone who had 3 felonies was going to prison for life. It didn't matter if you just stole a pair of shoes or anything like that. Just minor things. They were getting life. We did have Prop 36 that came through and helped reduce that. However, the penal code for a violent offender was re-authored. And what they did is they put in there anything from burglary to residential burglary was violent, whether there was anybody hurt or there was any weapon that was used. So we still have a lot of people that are still doing life when they didn't even commit a violent crime. Yes, they're serious, and we take it seriously, but there shouldn't be a reason for them to be there for life, except the one reason that the correctional department has is that is an automatic paycheck for them as long as they're in there. So with our act, what this will do is it will it'll amend the violent part definition of the penal code. Meaning, if there was no violence at all, I mean there wasn't a weapon used and there was no one hurt, they will be reclassified as serious and not violent. And this would allow those that are sitting in the prisons rehabilitated to be able to be sentenced as a second striker and not have to sit in there for life. This is the next step in dismantling the 3 strikes law, which we believe will be a monumental movement, and that will but from there we will have more policy change and we'll bring more people home. There's so many in the prisons, if you get to know about it, in prisons that are rehabilitated, that are more empathetic, more compassionate, smarter than the average person that's out here on the streets, and they don't deserve to be sitting in a cage. With that being said, I do want to announce Lupita Marez, who also would like to share her story. One moment.
Hello, my name is Lupita Marez. I'm the wife of Jesse Marez. He's a non-violent 3-striker that was sentenced to 36 to life in 2011 for possession of a firearm under the old 3 strikes law. In 2014, the Court of Appeal reversed one of his charges, and he was resentenced under today's current law, which says that unless it's violent, you get sentenced as a 2-striker. So he was sentenced to 8 years, and he was released with time served. He discharged his CDCR number. He discharged successfully early from probation in 2014. In January of this year, we received a call from our lawyer that the district attorney in our county had won the appeal to reverse his sentence, and my husband was remanded back into custody after almost 3 successful years of freedom. In his time while he was free, he became a union iron worker. He was active in the community. We're active in our church. We're homeowners. We had a baby. She's 2 years old now. He did everything that he was supposed to do as a rehabilitated man, and he was sent back into prison. And the reason why I want to share his story is because my husband's not unique in the sense that he's the only rehabilitated nonviolent three-striker in the system. That's not the case. The case is my husband's one of the few that actually got the chance to prove it. And he's still been placed back into prison. And the reason why I like the Fair Sentencing and Public Safety Act is because it makes it retroactive. So with this passing, my husband will have the ability to be free again and once and for all, you know. And so I want people to support it and know that the three-strike law with Prop 36, it did help a lot of people, but there's still many people like my husband, like some of the men that were incarcerated back in the 90s that fell under that serious code. Although their crimes are considered nonviolent to us, the district attorneys are saying they're serious, so they didn't get the benefit of Prop 36, and they're still in there serving their 25-year life terms. So I just wanted to share his story. His name is Jesse Mraz. We have a Facebook page called Justice for Jesse Mraz if you want to go and support it. On there you'll see support letters from the chief of police in our city asking the court to free my husband. We have a letter from our assembly member asking the governor to free my husband. And none of those letters were ever read in court. The judge never gave us that opportunity when he was resentenced. We just showed up and he was handcuffed and taken back into custody with no fair sentencing trial. So if you could just please support us. We also have a petition on change.org under the same name, Justice for Jesse Mraz. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
I have a question. Is it okay to ask a question?
Sure.
So this is Dr. Harris here, Fresno, California. So when can we start getting signatures for the petitions? What is that process?
I was just going to talk about that. Actually, we just filed the initiative November 13th, which was a week ago yesterday. We do have to wait for the public comment period, which if anyone would like to make a public comment on it, we're encouraging people to make positive comments on there. It is at the Office of Attorney General and under Initiatives and Active Measures. Once that has taken place and they review it to see what the impact would be of it, the cost of the savings that will come from it, and that type of thing, we will then get the green light from them to start collecting signatures. We're anticipating that will be about the middle of January, being that we do have the holidays coming up. But in the meantime, we are going to make sure that we are set up and ready to go as soon as we get that red light. So right now we are having people sign up to be volunteers. We do have an outreach where we are going to be contacting the universities, colleges, junior colleges, and private schools to also get them involved in collecting signatures. And anyone else who would like to help us, those that are here today, you can sign up. I have sign-up sheets, or you can go online to our website, which is wethepeopleorg.com. We have our initiative on there. You can read through it, get more understanding of it, and there's also a button on there that you can click to volunteer. You put your name, and we will be in contact with you. And you can also make donations at the same site. And what we will be doing between now and then is we will be collecting the signatures, looking to see where we have people at, how many people in each county that we have, and then we will be conducting training between now and the mid-January so that everyone can be up, ready to go, and know their part of what they have to do or need to do for us. And we appreciate anybody and everyone that would get involved and help us. You can also follow us on Facebook. We are at wethepeopleorg on Facebook, and we also have Twitter and Instagram and our website. If anybody would, and if you would like to contact myself, our president, who is Tom Leversky, was supposed to be here, but he is a defense criminal attorney. So, as we have stated, all these things that are going on, you know, he is definitely busy and trying to defend people from things like have been set up here to happen to them. So you can contact him, myself, or our founder. And our number is 888-245-9393. If you have any other questions, anyone that's here in Fresno, you can either find me on Facebook as well under Victoria Hamida Amina Johnson. It's pretty long, but you just put in Victoria Johnson and you'll find me. Or even Reverend Floyd Harris. He can get in contact with me, or he will also have information about the initiative and about We the People Org.
Just one more question. So this is Dr. Harris again with Real Talk from the #1 Doctors Blog Talk International Radio Show with Dr. Kennedy and Dr. D with us here today. How many, once we get the okay to get these signatures, how many signatures will we need roughly to get it on the ballot?
The requirement is just a little over 385,000, but we're pushing for 500,000 just so that we have enough, so that there's no excuses that they won't put it on the ballot. And then once in the end of June, we'll know if we qualified. And then from there, it will just be a matter of getting the word out. That will be where we'll also need volunteers. We'll be phone banking, and we'll be canvassing to get the word out. And we'll have voter guides and other organizations helping us along the way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Can we get